Welcome to the Carriker Chronicles, the People Show. Checking the pulse of Husker Nation, brought to you by DPS Concrete Construction. Check them out at dpsconstruction.net. And as always, CarrikerChronicles.com. It's where all your Husker sports hopes and dreams will come true. Ladies and gentlemen, it's just science. But if you're like me and you kind of see these last three games, USC, Wisconsin, Iowa, as its own little mini season, okay, and you think it could be important, not only getting some wins, but getting momentum going into the offseason and next year, and you kind of see it that way, smash that like button. And or if you just want to see Nebraska get a one frickin' win at least at the bare minimum, become bowl eligible, and then the appropriate offseason moves being made, and that's all you're asking for, smash the like button. As always, if you haven't done so yet, make sure you subscribe and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any of the content we're putting out here on the Carriker Chronicles. Now, Charlie McBride will be joining me as long as Coach is feeling better. Up to this point, says he's feeling better, but he will be joining me either on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday of next week, depending on how he's doing. Whatever day he's not on, I'll be putting out my USC preview and prediction show as well. Just remember, ladies and gentlemen, the games to remember are played in November. And then, as always, December has become the month of insanity, not just with the college football playoff now, but also bowl games, but like the transfer portal, early signing day, which is really National Signing Day. Lots of stuff coming up over the next couple of months. All right, Dana Holgorsen. Nebraska's offense, to a degree at least, has hit the reset button. Okay, Dylan Raiola as well, with the help of Dana Holgorsen. Now, what's he doing? He's sitting in meetings right now, and he's learning the lingo, and he's learning what they're doing. And he's here to help. He's not here to revamp or entirely overhaul. That would be insane and wouldn't make any sense, which is a few weeks left in the season. But what can be done in a month? Honestly, I would say simplify things. Simplifying things. When you see wide receivers open and the quarterback missing the read, and it's a 19-year-old quarterback, I don't put that on the quarterback. You got to help him. So to me, sometimes more is just more. Can also mean too much, especially when you have an offense that's struggling a little bit, trying to find its way, a young quarterback that's developing still, trying to get going in a positive direction over the past few weeks of the season. Part of me thinks that maybe they added too much as the season went along. Dylan was confident, he was decisive early on, he was effective early on. I know, we're getting into Big Ten play, different style of defenses, but he just kind of looks different. So to me, sometimes more can actually end up being less. In other words, it hurts you because it's too much on someone's plate, and that's why maybe some of these things have been missed potentially, okay? Sometimes less is more. That's something one of my Redskins strength coaches said to me when I was in DC at the latter end of my career, and it made no sense to me. I get it now. In the appropriate situations, less can be more. I believe it took us 4 minutes to score. It took us 10 plays to score from inside the opponent's 10-yard line. That is not moving quickly. Our 2-minute offense should not look like a 4-minute offense, because a 4-minute offense is what you do when you're trying to run out the clock. Now, it took us forever to do some things when we needed to go quickly in some of our recent games, and we just kind of looked a little bit disjointed on offense. This offense just hasn't shown the ability to go fast when it needs to. And sometimes simplifying things takes away the thinking, makes it so you can be more confident, more decisive, move quicker, move faster, and be more effective in general, not just in a 2-minute offense situation, but just in general, and just get to some sort of level of comfort that we just haven't seen from this offense consistently this year. So again, to me, in this case, less is definitely more. It allows the players to be more decisive, starting with the quarterback, and allows the offense as a whole to move faster. So what I believe Dana can do is say, hey, these are probably your best plays. These are the plays you need to focus on. These are the plays you need to run more. Maybe some of these aren't as necessary. We need to spend more reps on these particular plays, get better, get more efficient, get more fluid, get more decisive, get faster at them. Sometimes less can be more. And I would imagine instead of, hey, let's run a whole bunch of new drills, let's put a whole bunch of new plays in. We can talk about that. It doesn't seem likely, and unless you're at practice, and honestly doesn't seem like it'd be very effective. I know he's in the meetings, I know he's learning their lingo, and I know he's trying to help them simplify things. This has to be a little bit weird for Marcus Satterfield. All right, you're the offensive coordinator, yet they bring in this, and I quote, Troy Dannon here, offensive genius, end quote, when he was talking about Dana Holgorsen, in to help as an offensive analyst. And again, I believe what they can do, what he can do is he can say, hey, these are the plays we need to run, dare I say, form a smidge of an identity on offense, get really good at a few things or just decently good at a few things consistently, and help the offense by simplifying and running more efficiently than it has. I will say this, I was at practice last week. Former players are always welcome at practice, but Even guys in the media, all right, are welcome at practice as well. Matt Rule changed that rule once he got here. Now, Matt Rule actually texted me specifically and invited me to come to the practice, come talk to the team, and I did that. And I chatted with some of the players afterwards. I shook Ed Foley's hand. I shook Marcus Satterfield's hand as well. They shook my hand. They looked me in the eye, and honestly, because I've been pretty vocal about my opinions and my thoughts, and I always will be, passionate, respectful, but honesty and tough love can be hard to handle sometimes. Coach Foley, Coach Satterfield shook my hand, looked me in the eye, and I respect that. And they earned some of my respect because of how they handled that. I'll be honest with you, there is one offensive coach there. I don't respect how he conducts himself necessarily in the face of accountability, but that's neither here nor there. To each their own. Again, you know this. So quickly, I will always root for the Huskers. My shows are always easier and more fun to do after a Nebraska win. I will always be as unbiased as I possibly can be. I will always, my fallback when I'm struggling with trying to figure out what to say is I will always speak my truth back with as much proof, facts, and evidence as possible. Hence, I've already thrown like 8 papers on the floor, by the way. No, they're not white, they're full of notes, just to be clear. Backed with as much proof, facts, and evidence as I can possibly find. Doesn't mean I'm right, doesn't mean I'm wrong, okay? We're all entitled to our own opinion, but facts don't care about feelings, including my own, ladies and gentlemen. Now the question is, will Nebraska's offense be fixed by the USC game? No, that's not really the question, that's just a question, but the answer is no. Will it be better versus the Trojans? Will it be better the rest of the season? No one truly knows. That's what we all hope for. But I do believe the odds went up with some of the things that have taken place during the bye week, and a large part of that is bringing in an outside set of eyes like Dana Holgorsen. I've actually got to see it on the field when we play the Trojans in the Coliseum on Saturday. Now, I did a lot of research, and we're going to get to that here in just a minute. Now, I did share this on my Adam Carriker show. Hashtag cheap plug, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, noon to 1 p.m. Central Time, live in studio on 93.7 The Ticket, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm going to share it again here as well, because anytime something is that important, I'll share it multiple times. We're going to get to that in just a second. I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, DPS Concrete Construction. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking to have concrete work done, dpsconstruction.net. Retaining wall work done, dpsconstruction.net. Nebraska through and through. That's the owner, Jason Armstrong. If this is your line of work, go to dpsconstruction.net. Tell them Adam sent you. Jason Armstrong's a phenomenal boss. If you're looking to have a pool, hot tub, and or sauna put in, it's bonzelpool.com. If you have a pool, a hot tub, and a sauna, and you need it taken care of, ladies and gentlemen, they not only put our pool and hot tub in, they take care of our pool and hot tub. It's bonzelpool.com. If you go in the store or you talk to somebody, ask for Jeff and tell him Adam sent you. Jeff Bonzel's the owner, bonzelpool.com. Specifically the hot tubs, check those out as well. So Nebraska has actually got a lot of experience on this coaching staff, and that's before Dana Holgorsen got here. All right, but Dana Holgorsen is 53 years old. He's been coaching for 31 years. He's been a quarterbacks coach 5 different times. All right, his first ever coaching job was quarterbacks and wide receivers. He's been an offensive coordinator 4 times, a head coach twice with West Virginia and Houston. Now, Nebraska has 3 former/current head coaches on their coaching staff now in Rule, Satterfield. Marcus Satterfield was a head coach for 2 years at Tennessee Tech. He had a 6-16 record there in 2016 and 17. And then Dana Holgorsen, who's been a head coach for 13 years. Rule is in his 12th season as a head coach. Marcus, as I mentioned, coached for 2 years as a head coach. That's 27 combined years of head coaching experience. We've had 4 different guys on this team, or we have 4 different guys on this coaching staff, Rule, Holgorsen, Marcus Satterfield, and Glenn Thomas, that have experience, a lot of experience of being offensive coordinators. 38 combined offensive coordinator experience in total years between these 4 guys. Rule was an OC for 4 years, Holgorsen 10, Thomas 11, Satterfield 13. Actually, the most was Satterfield, specifically quarterbacks. A relatively important position in football, I'd say. Glenn Thomas has been a quarterbacks coach by far the most, 16 years. Satterfield 5, Rule 4, I don't know if you knew that, Holgorsen 10. That's 35 combined years of total experience as quarterbacks coaches between these guys. All right, you look at Holgorsen specifically, and I'm going to go through this quickly. He learned under Mike Leach. Initially, he was at Texas Tech 05, 06, 07 as the offensive coordinator. They had the number 4, number 8, number 3 offense in the country in total yards. Record-setting quarterback, all the quarterbacks out of Texas Tech, from Cliff Kingsbury Singletary to Graham Harrell, etc., were set a bunch of records, all of them. But Graham Harrell led the nation in number one in passing yards and passing offense in America, 470 pass yards per game. Then he goes to Houston. During his tenure, they averaged 563 total yards a game, 434 passing yards a game, and they averaged 42.2 points per game under Holgorsen as the offensive coordinator. In 2008 specifically, they were number 3 in the country in total offense. In 2009, number 1 in the country in total offense, and record-setting quarterback Case Keenum averaged 403.2 yards per game as a sophomore, 416.4 yards per game as a junior. Then he goes to Oklahoma State. They set 5 school records. Oklahoma State's actually a pretty good program. They've beaten Oklahoma quite a few times in their rivalry game lately, and Oklahoma State ain't exactly known for defense, and they set 5 records while he was there. All right, they had first-round draft pick Brandon Whedon, which he coached there as well. But the records are total yards in a season, points scored, pass yards, pass completions, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, pass attempts in a season. Then he goes to West Virginia. As their head coach, he led them to a Big East championship. He coached Geno Smith, who is still in the NFL, 10-plus years starting for the Seahawks. And their first ever Orange Bowl appearance, they set a school record when they upset Clemson. I remember watching this game. It was like touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. I was like, I didn't know West Virginia was so good. And I didn't know who Dana Holgorsen was at the time, but they won 70-33. All right, then he goes to Houston. He's the head coach. The offense continues to produce. He was fired November of 2023. There has been some off-the-field stuff, but up until he got to Lincoln, he was a defensive analyst for TCU. He would analyze what opposing teams would do, and then he'd help TCU's defensive staff. I met him at practice last week as well, shook his hand briefly. Now, to be clear, here's what I hope happens. What I hope happens? All right, bear with me. I hope we average like 20, 30 points a game. I hope we win the rest of these games. First of all, I'd be right. My record prediction, 8-4. That's what I hope happens, and everybody gets to come back, and we're looking better, and everyone's happy going into the offseason. Now, does it seem likely? Probably not. And I will point this out. We ran 12 screen passes versus Ohio State. That was talked about at great length. Versus UCLA, we ran 0. How do you go from 12 to 0? Okay, I understand the scrutiny, the pressure, the analyzation, including mine, from me, yours truly. But UCLA, it's kind of like they knew they weren't going to run screens because of all the scrutiny. It was blitz after blitz after 0 blitz after 0 blitz, which means you have no safety back. You're bringing the house. It's kind of the perfect time to run a screen. But I digress. It's a tough job, ladies and gentlemen. Being a college football coach, that's why they get paid the big bucks. All right. Now, why else might Dana Holgorsen be here already? Because if I'm Matt Rule and I'm looking ahead and I'm saying, man, if I do have to make a change at offensive coordinator, who do I want? Well, Dana was here last January for a reason. They obviously had conversations then. If you want Dana, and he's a analyst at TCU, why not bring him in now, not only to help you the rest of the season, but if you have to make a change and you want Dana to be your OC, have him in-house to begin with, so you have the inside track to bringing him in next year, if that's indeed what happens. Seems fairly likely to me. Now, for those who think Dana Holgorsen doesn't run the ball at all, he's a pass-first guy. I mean, he is. Probably first, second, and third. All right, let's just be honest. All right, here's a tweet. If you don't like the Dana hire, because he, and I quote, doesn't run the ball, end quote. That's not always true. He had a 14-yard rusher before. Secondly, would you take his offense over our current one? I think most people would. Now, there were some responses below. Exactly. It's not a perfect fit for the Big Ten, in my opinion, but it's light years better than we have. Another response, Matt Rule is going to want to run the ball. It's not going to get us abolished. Here's some other things that other people tweeted out as well. In his 13 years as an FBS head coach, Dana Holgorsen's offense has averaged 30-plus points per game in 11 of 13 seasons. 5 of his 11 years, his offense ranked in the top 20 nationally. All right, now, he says Nebraska is currently averaging 23.6 points per game. Help was on the way for the Huskers. I thought it was 18.3 because that's what it was when I looked it up. When you look at Dana Holgorsen's offenses over the years, all right, 07, Texas Tech, all right, ranked 12th in the country. Next year, 9th in the country, 2nd in the country, 3rd in the country, 13th, 8th. And then there was a bit of a dip at West Virginia, 71st, 39th. Oh my gosh, 39th would be glorious right now. 35th, 49th, 30th, 10th, 46th, 51st, 19th, 18th during his 10 years over his many plus years of being a coach. You look at some of the stats from our offense right now. Shout out to John Johnson. He does a great job on coordination. When it comes to plays of 10 plus yards, explosive plays, we're in the bottom half of America in that. When it comes to red zone conversions, we're 127th out of 133 teams in the country. In the last 4 games, we're only averaging 2.8 yards per carry. We're not really running the ball well anyways to begin with. And let me ask you this. What is our offensive identity? What is it? Have we had one for 10 years? There was a time when it was the option for God knows how long and it was glorious. There was a time when it was Taylor Martinez and it was the read option, et cetera, et cetera. We weren't great at throwing the ball, but we were really had some stable of good running backs for years, from Rex to Amir and et cetera. Okay, Taylor could run Tommy had a big arm, but he could run and move. We had Adrian who came in. Obviously, there was some struggles the older he got, but his freshman year, you saw how electric he could be with his legs and throwing the ball at times. I'll be honest with you. I still believe. I do. I do. Am I in the minority in this? This isn't even one of my planned questions. Do you believe, like me, that we could still be successful if we went back to running the old school option offense? And that's not the point of this video, but bear with me for about 20 seconds. Nobody else in the country's doing it. I know we're not going to go do it. This is my show. Let's have fun for about 15 more seconds. It worked for 40 plus years at Nebraska. We'd be so hard and unique to defend. People would have 1 week to prepare for an offense unlike anything they see the rest of the year. And when it comes to recruiting, our biggest competition, with all love and due respect to the service academies, it'd be Army, Navy, Air Force. I think we could win those and we could get the top option offense type players. Not gonna happen, obviously. I get that. Okay, that 20 seconds of fun is over. Back to reality. We have Dylan Raiola as a quarterback and Dana Holgorsen, a very proven offensive coordinator who's coached quarterbacks and wide receivers most of his entire coaching career. I just want an offense that works. And ladies and gentlemen, if this is what we end up doing in the future at some point, I'd be cool with that. All right, now Phil Snow was also brought in as a defensive consultant. This has not been talked about as much. Part of me wonders, is this a little bit insulting to Tony White? And that hadn't even occurred to me. I had other former defensive players mention that to me. Hey, do you think this is insulting to Tony White? And I was like, huh. So I had to think about that. You think about the year before Tony got here, 2022. Nebraska's defense was exactly 100th in the country in defense. Last year, leaped all the way up to 11th. Now this year, we're 14th in America. There's a lot of stats this year that aren't quite as good as they were a year ago. Okay, in certain parts of certain games, I'm sure the defensive staff wish it had gone differently, but it's still a top 15 defense in the country. By far our strongest unit. We played 36 quarters of football this year. 28 quarters have been rock solid by the defense. I can point to a couple of halves here and there, and obviously the Indiana game didn't go well for anybody. 20 out of 36 quarters. If we added the offensive good quarters and the special teams good quarters together, would they beat that? I don't know. I didn't take the time to do it. Just food for thought. Here's another stat. We're the only defense in the nation that's both in the top 10 in sacks and top 15 in turnovers forced. That being said, Tony's a great recruiter as well. There's still a chance. I'm like the only guy that will talk about this out loud, because if you don't talk about it, it can't happen, I guess. But there's still a chance he could be a head coach next year. I want him here to be clear. But if so, our next defensive coordinator may already be here as well. Phil Snow. All right, Troy Dannon, in an interview with Sean Callahan and Steve Sipple, shout out to those guys. They do a phenomenal job, called Phil Snow, and I quote, a legend, end quote. And he shared a story about how Tulane had a really good team. They went up to play Temple and they got waxed 35-0. And that's the day he learned just how good of a coach he believes Snow is. All right, now Phil Snow, if you don't know, has been Matt Rule's defensive coordinator 3 different times before: Temple, Baylor, and the Carolina Panthers. Matt Rule seems to have several contingency plans potentially in play for the near future here at Nebraska. Now imagine this, and I've already laid out what I want to happen, but I'm trying to live in the real world and what I want to happen. Can't have both. Not Notre Dame. Can't have your cake and eat it too. Hey, we're in the ACC. Not really. Just kidding. All right, that's gonna bite them in the butt someday. I'm rooting for it. I'm here all day for it, but I digress. All right, I'm also happy the Yankees lost in the World Series. And if you're a Yankees fan, let me know in the comments below. It's all good. I don't know what's gonna happen. I've already laid out what I'm rooting for. And I say this with a ton of respect, because there's men here that are currently trying to do a job and win football games at Nebraska. So with all due respect for them, I'm going to throw this out there once and I'm going to leave it. Next year, potentially, offensive coordinator could potentially be Dana Holgorsen. Defensive coordinator, if Tony stays, could be Tony White. And the special teams coordinator, depending on how things pan out, could be Bill Busch. It's a potential option. Let's move forward. Couple final thoughts. And these may be a bit all over the place. I'm just going to be honest with you. Some of these I meant to share last week in the last show I was going to do during the bye week, and then I realized it was a bye week and I didn't do the additional show that I normally do heading into Saturdays. So some of these I would have shared a week ago. All right. But here's some stuff that I thought was kind of interesting. Oh, first, before I get to that. All right, Ange, put this up on the screen. This dude. Quit showing up. I'm not going to be going to any more games until something changes. That's how you show your displeasure to this clown show of the last decade. You know what? I think that's a clown show tweet. And we're going to put up my tweet right here, right now. I will never be apathetic towards Husker football. And that's all I got to say about that. All right, let's move on now. This actually happened about a month ago, but I have formed a partnership with the Omaha Storm Chasers, and more is going to happen come January, February, and into the spring when their season starts. But I wanted to officially announce that here on the Carriker Chronicles. The Carriker Chronicles and the Omaha Storm Chasers have officially formed a partnership. Because we're going to put this up on here. All right, Army football will wear the skull and crossbones helmets against Air Force. This was, again, a week ago. Again, I would have shared this a week ago. All right. Skull and crossbones helmets against Air Force. They pummeled Air Force. But here's what I'll tell you. If the school's going to wear that, I got no problem with it being Army. Pretty cool. All right, and again, these stats need to be updated, but when I took a screenshot of this tweet, 4-star running back commit Connor Booth has had an unreal senior season on the ground, 184 carries, 2,414 yards, 44 touchdowns, 13.1 yards per carry, 268 yards per game. He is averaging a touchdown on 1 out of every 4 carries. Holy Moses Malone. All right, Pat McAfee. And this was leading into the right around the Penn State-Ohio State game where game day was. I love Pat McAfee. You know there's a bunch of behind-the-scenes drama, like Stephen A. Smith and a bunch of the hosts on ESPN hate him. They hate his success, and they won't even go on his show as guests. Anyways, I digress. Pat McAfee takes a big shot at Fox's Big Noon Kickoff, who was also at Penn State when they played Ohio State a week or two ago. And I quote, "This game is not at night. This is a Big Noon Kickoff. I don't think there's any people at their set. That's on them, not on us." End quote. I just thought that was great. All right, Vanderbilt linebacker Brian Longwell. They beat Auburn a week or two ago. Kept receipts about an Auburn coach texting him on Christmas Day of 2022. Christmas Day? That he wasn't getting a scholarship offer. And it's up on the screen. You can read it. Why Christmas Day? Why Christmas Day? You couldn't wait a day? Just dirty. All right. Here's another thing with Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt quarterback Diego Pavia is now personally 3-0 versus Hugh Freeze and helped Vandy beat Alabama and Auburn in the same season for the first time since 1955. I saw a joke where someone said after the election, Diego Pavia, the new governor of Alabama because he owns the state. It was something to that effect, but I digress. Top 10 teams in their strength of schedule. Okay, and again, this was before the games were played this past weekend. Oregon 45th, Georgia 1st. I've talked about how brutal their schedule is. Ohio State 19, Miami 46, Texas 54, Penn State 28, Tennessee 33, Indiana 103. I'd still have them ahead of Penn State, but I can't wait for them to play Ohio State and prove or not prove something. BYU 61, Notre Dame, I'll never forgive you for losing to Northern Illinois, getting outrushed, outgained, outbeat, at home, on your home field by Northern Illinois as a middle road MAC team, but they have the 75th strength of schedule in the country. They have 4 ranked wins this year, Notre Dame. 2 of them are for service academies, and I have nothing but respect for those schools, but those schools are impossible to try to rank because you don't really know much about them. They're very unique. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here's one. Mike Norvell, disappointed about the playoff committee decision to leave FSU out again. That's just too funny when it was sent to me. What do they want? We win all our games, they don't put us in. We lose almost all of our games, they don't put us in. What do these guys want? That's not what he said. That's my quote. All right, Nebraska is currently an 8.5-point underdog to Southern Cal as I'm recording this video. Indiana, going back to the Hoosiers, told you to be all over the place, has a cumulative spread differential plus 154 frickin' points. That's the difference between the closing line and the final margin of victory. Nebraska's best full season total in the last 20 years was plus 75. Holy crap. My incomplete numbers have 1995 Nebraska at a plus 110.5 in 8 games. All right, Jaden Maivea, named the first Polynesian starting quarterback in USC history. I'll talk more about him soon. He's a UNLV transfer. Dylan Raiola, also of Polynesian descent, so that'd be kind of interesting, an intriguing part of watching Nebraska versus USC. All right, Nebraska volleyball. The state of Nebraska volleyball is unmatched. Now, at the D1 level, there's 7 college volleyball teams in the state of Nebraska ranked in the top 16. At the Division I level, the Huskers, number 2 in the country. They're on a 20-match win streak. They haven't had their match versus Washington as of the time that I'm recording this video. I know this video is going to go out afterwards. They beat 9 top 20 teams, 8 top 15 teams, 6 top 10 teams, 2 top 5 teams, and have swept 17 of their last 24 matches. They're 23-1 as I record this video right now in the season. They have swept 7 of their last 8 matches. Also at the D1 level, Creighton is top 5 for the first time ever. All right, they haven't lost since September 15th. They swept 12 of their last 14 opponents. Now, I do want to give a shout out to Herd at Sports. They put out a video, and that's what prompted me to look into this and do my own research on this as well. They do a great job. Check them out. And as I've mentioned, I'm recording this video before the bye week weekend so I can enjoy the weekend with my family. All right, so keep that in mind when I'm talking about this stuff. But going back to the D2 level, Kearney, 24-1, a top 5 team. Wayne State, number 10 in the country, D2. NAIA, Concordia is number 2. Bellevue, also NAIA, is number 6 in the country. JUCO level, Western Nebraska Community College is number 16 in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, check out CarrikerChronicles.com. We have game photos, fan of the week. Send your submissions in. Where are they now? Catch up on where former Huskers are at. All right, Husker hoops just started. Men's and women's basketball, we're covering them. Volleyball's obviously being covered as well. CarrikerChronicles.com. Here are my questions for you fine folks at home. Let me know your answers in the comments below. Number one, the Huskers offense, per my calculations, are averaging 18.3 points per game. Can they improve to just a tad to averaging 20 points per game the last 3 games of the season? Number 2, will Nebraska make a bowl game? Yes or no? Just let me know. Number 3, do you like the moves that Matt Rule is making? Again, yes or no? Let me know your answer. Go Big Red Nose. Remember to throw the bug.